Good morning, YouTube. This is My View America. My name is Jason, and today's topic is going to be covering healthcare. Uh, I decided to do this because a friend of mine shared a picture of someone's tweet on Facebook, so I just want to actually address it and how I feel about it. So here's the tweet. It says the CEO of GoFundMe has confirmed that one out of every three GoFundMe campaigns running right now is to pay medical bills, which makes GoFundMe one of the biggest insurers in the country. If that doesn't make you sick to your stomach, you are heartless. Actually, that doesn't make me sick to my stomach, and I don't feel like I'm heartless. In fact, I think this is awesome because it shows that a lot of people are actually giving to other people to help them out. I think that's awesome. Quite frankly, I was almost losing hope in humanity for how cruel that we are to each other. Sometimes it's actually hard to see how good we are to each other as well. Um, Although I know what the basic premise of this tweet was about. It was about, well, how come this is the only way these people can afford healthcare? Why don't we have universal healthcare, single payer healthcare, or whatever? Well, those ideas are bad. They sound good, but they're bad. And here's one of the reasons why. Um, because if the government now has the say, because they're the ones paying for the healthcare, so they have a say as to what kind of healthcare that you have access to versus what you don't have access to. And let's say that you need something, some sort of a operation that's experimental, but it costs a lot of money. Well, the government can look at it and go, "Oh, I'm sorry, that just doesn't look good in our books. So sorry, fresh out of luck. Have a nice life." I mean, seriously, this stuff like this is going to cause the government to look at people's health, especially when they're trying to get care, under a microscope. Sorry about that. And what's going to happen is that if you are needing care that they deem too expensive, you might as well forget about it. It might be life saving, but if they decide that they can't afford it or that you're not worth it, you're not getting it. It's as simple as that. It's sad, but it's the way things just have to be when you have single payer healthcare, or this universal healthcare as people call it. And you know, it makes sense that that's the way it is because let's look at it from an individual point of view. Let's say that, you know, you're taking care of your own healthcare out of your own funds. Well, what happens when you don't have the funds to pay for your healthcare? Well, you have to make tough decisions. In this case, it's the government. In the case of the universal healthcare, it's the government making those tough decisions for you. And let me tell you, they don't have your best interests at heart. Another thing that actually concerns me is that where are they going to get the money? They don't have the money to pay for it. Okay? Let's say that they come up with some new tax that pretty much makes us all broke. Or actually, let's say that it doesn't make us all broke. But let's say that they take it out of our paychecks, right? Kind of like Social Security. They're just going to do what they did with Social Security. Hey, this money is allocated, it's supposed to be allocated for nothing but healthcare. They're going to borrow from it for their pet projects or put it in their own pockets. We know this because they did it with Social Security. Social Security is supposed to be an investment that people put their own money towards so that when they retire, they get their money back. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a retirement fund for those people. But now, as a result of the government taking money out of Social Security, everyone's going, well, where are the people on Social Security going to get their money from now? And they don't do it with welfare, mind you, because that's how they get votes. But with Social Security, the people actually paying their own money into something versus taking money out. When it comes for them to get the money from Social Security, all of a sudden it's not there. I'd be mad. Because quite frankly, stuff like that is just ridiculous. I should talk about that at another time. But with the universal health care, it will almost be exactly the same. In fact, yeah, it will be exactly the same thing. You're going to see that pot of money, and they will borrow from it. And even if they don't, it's going to get depleted fast. So even if they did manage to get the money, they're not going to be able to hold on to it. There's absolutely no way. But yeah, like I said before, my biggest gripe is that the government then gets to decide what kind of healthcare that you get versus what you want. And if you want something that they don't think that you can get or should get, you're not getting it. It's as simple as that. And this is the difference between life and death sometimes. So that's my view. That's why I don't like it. That's why it's a bad idea. And let's look at the way healthcare is now. Nice and privatized. What happens? Well, you get all these. You get good research. You get excellent doctors. Not doctors that go, well, I don't know if we can pay for this, so let's let's let the government decide. No, no. If that's not the way it goes. If you need actual health in life or death, you will get it. If it's a cosmetic thing, forget about it. Unless your insurance covers it, obviously, or if you want to cover it on your own. But life or death stuff, quality of life stuff, our healthcare is top notch. We got the best doctors in the world, in my opinion. Okay, that's my opinion. But regardless, starting to get off topic. Biggest thing is you don't want government saying what you're entitled to for your health care. You need to be in charge of that. Okay? Because if the government decides that you're not worth it, if the government decides that you're not worth that open heart surgery because you're so old, forget about it. See, oh, you know what? That brings up another topic. This stuff will lead to eugenics, forced euthanasia, probably even forced sterilization. Yeah, it would actually end up in forced sterilization, like we had way back in the early 20th century. It will happen, and you're gonna pay for it one way or another. That's my view, America. If you have any comments, gripes, complaints, suggestions, leave them in the comments below, and I will try my best to get back to you and address those. And you guys have a good evening. Good night.